Good afternoon, the lunch break show, and today we have a very special guest. We have a dietitian, and today we'll be talking about nutrition. I think we will not only be focusing on athletes or on sports, but also I think the conversation will also cover everyone as we'd want to see it. Before we start, let's do this. All right. As I said when I started, we have a dietitian, Moloko Mehlape. I'd want her to introduce herself and also get to share with us what she does.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Moloko Mehlape. I'm a dietitian. I'm a clinical dietitian by profession. I'm based in Pretoria. So I'm running 3 private practices, but I have a very special interest in sports nutrition. I did my master's in sports nutrition, currently doing my PhD in sport nutrition. I'm also a part-time lecturer at University of Pretoria and at Sefako Mahato University. So that is why I took so long to get to this meeting, because there is no time. And then other than that, I'm a mother of 1 and a wife as well. So people always ask me why I chose to be a dietitian, and I always say I didn't choose the profession chose me. So here's my story. When you grow up in the rural areas, you don't have much career guidance. You go to varsity not knowing what you want to do. And with me, I always knew I was going to be in the health sector, but as to what, I didn't know. There are pharmacy students who came to our school when I was in matric, and I got interested in pharmacy. And after completing my matric in 2007, I went to Medical University of South Africa to apply for pharmacy, and they told me that I was late. I had to do I couldn't do a late application. So I asked, which courses are you left with? They said dietetics, they said occupational therapy, and they said what else? Bachelor of Science. And I just remembered in matric we had this section on nutrition. It was very intriguing to me, and I randomly chose dietetics. First year, second year, I didn't understand what the course was all about. Only in third year, when we started going to the hospital, I started witnessing the power of food in healing and also in preventing diseases. Right now, I wouldn't trade my profession for anything. So I love being a dietitian.
Yeah. You mentioned that you do advise in terms of sports. What made the shift for you to focus specifically on sports?
Okay, during my first year of working, we call it community service. I used to work in Zaneni, Limpopo, and I used to go to the gym quite often. So when every day, actually, Monday to Thursday or Monday to Friday, I used to go to the gym. And I remember at school we did sport nutrition, but it was just a minor chapter. We didn't focus much on it. So when I used to go to the gym, people that we gym with or gym mates, they would always come around with some nutrition information. People with all those internet knowledge. So they would always come to me and say, use this and that, use whey protein. If you're trying to lose weight, use that. Then I started being interested in the knowledge, like what do people who are involved in sport know about nutrition. So that's when I had an idea of registering my master's in 2014. And my focus was nutrition knowledge and dietary practices of soccer and basketball athletes. So we're focusing on young athletes. It was between the age of 13 and 24, and it was in different sports centers in Rustenburg. And my results found that soccer and basketball athletes don't have adequate knowledge when it comes to nutrition. Like they don't know what protein is, they don't know what carbohydrates are, they don't know when to take carbohydrates or the kind of snack that they needed to take post exercise. And also their dietary habits, they were involved in this gimmick weight loss methods that were not actually safe. So that is why now for my PhD, what I'm trying to do is develop an educational tool that is, I'm still not sure if I should focus just on soccer athletes or if I should focus on runners. So I'm still trying to put together a protocol. So it's developing an educational tool for exercising people so that they know when to eat what. Because when it comes to sports, we need to time our meals. We don't just eat. For example, now if I'm going to the gym now in the next 20 minutes, and I eat 4 slices of bread, brown bread, which is high in fiber, and I drink milk, chances are when I get to the gym, I'm going to have cramps in my stomach, and that might affect my performance when I'm trying to exercise. So when it comes to exercise, it is very necessary to time our meals. We don't just eat whenever.
But then one would want to understand in terms of sports nutrition, how is it different? How is it different from your average nutrition, or in terms of your clients that you work with? Do you offer like the same maybe meal plans for athletes specifically? Was it and for sports? How is it? How is it different?
Okay, first thing is people who are involved in sports, they have increased nutritional requirements, increased energy requirements, unlike someone who's sedentary, who doesn't exercise or who is not involved in sports. Their protein requirements, carbohydrates requirements, and their fat requirements are a little bit up there. And the fluid requirements are high. For an average person, we can drink 1.5. It's not supposed to be like that. If you are playing soccer, sorry about that. I think someone was trying to call me. So if you are playing soccer and it's very hot, you are sweating a lot, your fluid requirements and your what we call electrolytes requirements, your sodium, your potassium are going to be up there. So also different sports what we call we have different nutrition requirements for soccer people, for basketball people, for runners and all that. So our nutrition requirements will depend on the intensity of our exercise, and also how long does it take for one game.
With that being said, is there, let's say for athlete, is there a specific diet that you'd recommend for athletes across, or you'd have to understand maybe the nature of sports that particular person is involved in?
Okay, when it comes to nutrition is not a one size fits all. So you and I, we are different heights, we are different weights. So we can be playing soccer, both of us, but our requirements will not be the same. They will depend on age, your metabolic rate. It will depend on your height and your weight as well. But what I can recommend, like just as a baseline or as a guidance, I can say people need to have balanced meals. We have 4 different types of food groups. They don't function the same in the body. The first group that we have is what we call the starch. Some people think starch is bad for us, but that is not the case. Our bodies need starch for energy. Our bodies need starch for fiber, for vitamins and minerals as well. So the trick about starch is to go for more of your brown starches than your white starches. When we were growing up, they used to tell us that brown bread is healthier than white bread, and we didn't understand why at that point. It's mainly to do with the fiber content. Brown starches are less refined, so they have more fiber. Fiber is the roughage in food that is not digestible, so it helps us to pass um, things that the body doesn't, toxins, when we do number two, you see. So brown starches are always high in fiber, meaning they take time to digest. And then if they take time to digest, it means they raise your blood sugar levels slowly. But if you're going to eat something like white bread, because it's fluffy, it doesn't have fiber. That is why you can easily finish 6 slices of white bread, and then 2 minutes later, yes, 2 minutes later, you
Yeah.
are hungry, mainly because it doesn't have fiber. And because the digestion of white starches is very quick, it means they raise your blood sugar levels very quickly as well. So that will induce the secretion of hormone insulin. So insulin will increase in your blood, and insulin is a storage hormone. You're going to store more, you're going to gain weight. So when it comes to starches, the quality matters. You need to choose your brown starches over your white starches. Brown bread, brown pasta, brown rice, motogo wa mabele, and all those things. They are very high in fiber. And then the second group that we have is protein. This is a very important group as well, especially for athletes or for exercising people. So protein is needed to build our muscles which we use to do every activity, and also they are regulating our metabolism as well. So protein, also the quality matters. We need to choose more of protein. I'm talking about meat group, bean family, lentils, eggs, milk, cheese, and yogurt. So when it comes to the protein, we need to choose more of our lean meats. Healthy eating starts from the shop. So when you go grocery shopping, you're going to buy meat that doesn't have much fat, skinless chicken. When you buy dairy products, you stick to your low fat milk, low fat yogurt, low fat cheese or mozzarella cheese, because mozzarella has low salt and low fat content. And then
Mhm.
2 to 3 times a week, we need to eat the bean family. When it comes to things like beans, people think those are food for people who are disadvantaged, or yeah, something like that. But when we are talking of quality, the bean family is a better quality than meat, because it doesn't have saturated fat that is not good for our heart, and then it has more fiber and more iron as well. So we always recommend that people at least eat the bean family 2 to 3 times a week, either in the form of beans, lentils, butter beans, whatever form of beans. Like, they protect your heart against heart diseases as well. That is the second group, protein. The quality is lean meat, low fat dairy products, and more of the bean family as well. The third group that we have is the fruits and vegetable group, which is food for your immune system. We've been seeing during this corona period that a lot of people are just panic buying vitamins and minerals. But if you are consuming enough fruits and vegetable a day, by saying enough, I mean 5 portions a day. So 5 portions of 1 portion of a fruit is one fruit, one banana. So a portion of a vegetable, when it's cooked, let's say spinach or cabbage, it's half a cup, which is 125 mils. And then when it comes to a salad, when a vegetable is not cooked, we can have one standard cup, which is 250 mils. Also, 100% juices, they count as 1 portion of a fruit, but what we do when we drink them, we only use 125 mils of the juice and dilute it with water, because when we drink it just like that, it raises our blood sugar levels. We might end up over consuming calories and gaining weight as well. So 5 portions of fruits and vegetables a day. And you don't just say, I like a banana, and you eat bananas every day. You need to eat a variety of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
So different colors of fruits and vegetables, they represent what we call different phytonutrients, which are nutrients that are meant to fight diseases. In a banana, you can find phytonutrients that are meant to fight colon cancer, for example. And then in your berries, you find um like phytonutrients that are meant to fight bacteria and viruses. So it's very important that you eat all the colors. That is why we say eat your rainbow, eat your yellows, eat your greens, your reds, all the colors, so that we can get different types of phytonutrients. The final group that we have is the fat group. So when we say people should avoid fat, we're not referring to all fat. We are referring to the saturated fat that comes from animals that is not good for our heart. But there is fat that is healthy, which is monounsaturated fat or polyunsaturated fat. This kind of fat, we get it from your avocado, we get it from your olives, we get it from your seeds, your chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, the ones that we add in our cereals. We can also get this healthy fat from fish. We can get it from your olive oil and canola oil. I see a lot of people have a tendency of using what we call this coconut oil, which they think it's healthy. It's been on fashion for 5 years.
Coconut oil, yeah.
But I want to tell everyone that maybe coconut oil is healthy when you use it on your hair or on your skin. But when it comes to your health, it's not something that you should be taking because it's 90% saturated fat. If you can look at coconut oil at room temperature, it hardens. So when it gets to your blood vessels, it does the same thing and causing like plaques in your blood vessels, which can be a risk for heart diseases, heart attacks, and strokes. So coconut oil, I don't recommend it. If you are looking for a better option, that is olive oil, but olive oil is quite expensive. Alternatively, you can use canola oil. In my house, I use canola oil because it's much cheaper. So when we say someone is having a healthy diet, it is having a starch, a protein, either a fruit or a vegetables, and healthy fat. For example, in the morning, let's say you are eating oats, for example. Oats is your starch. You add low fat milk or fat free milk. That is your protein. And then you can add just a handful of berries or whatever fruit that we have at home. You slice a banana or an apple, you add it there. Then you can add a teaspoon of seeds there. Then that is a very healthy breakfast, which has food for energy, food for your muscles, um, food for your immunity, and then healthy fat for hormones in your body, for making hormones in your body. Even when you're having a salad, a simple thing like a salad, it needs to be balanced. It can have corn as the starch, and then maybe leftover chicken from yesterday as protein, and then the
Okay.
greens, your cucumber, your lettuce, and then you must add avocado or some olives there as some sort of healthy fat. Also, same applies to smoothies. Exercising people like using smoothies, but they make them in the wrong way. So you just add five fruits in a blender and blend them and drink them. You end up consuming a lot of calories. When you are having a smoothie, it must be balanced as well. You can have maximum of 2 fruits. Let's say you're having a tropical one. Maybe you have half a cup of mango sliced and then banana there. And then you add low-fat milk or plain yogurt. And then you add your peanut butter as your source of both protein and fat. So your smoothies need to be balanced as well.
Oh, yeah. I think one thing that also comes to mind in terms of when we deal with athletes, it's the issue of hydration. You'd find that some athletes would replace drinking water. They would rather go for a sports drink. So where do we draw the line to say this is how much energy drink you should have as compared to your normal hydration where people drink water?
Okay, so when you are having energy drinks, not energy drinks, the sports drinks, because there's a difference. The
Sports
energy
drinks,
drinks,
yeah.
yes, the sports drinks. I was having one just now. Yes. So
Yes.
So when we are talking about, and it shouldn't be more than 500 meals. And most of the time, we recommend them if someone is going to be exercising for more than an hour, where you're going to be losing a lot of salt, body salts, and a lot of water. So if your exercising is just 30 minutes walk, 30 minutes run, 45 minutes soccer game, not really necessary, but if it's more than that, or sometimes when you are practicing when it's really really hot and you can see that the salt losses are a lot, you've been sweating a lot, we can recommend that, and it shouldn't be more than 500 mils.
500 ml. Okay. And then I think also with supplements, let's on how do we strike a balance? We find that athletes lose, they sweat, they do all these heavy workouts. Where do we or when do we say take supplements or take a certain portion?
Okay, most people don't know this, but it's really possible to meet your nutrition requirements without supplements. The other day, I had a talk with my husband. Like, he went to the shop to Discam and he spent around 1,200 on different types of supplements. All these things are not really necessary if you are having a balanced diet, you see. And all I can say, I cannot say to you now, take 600 milligrams of calcium when you don't have I haven't assessed you and checked if you have calcium deficiency. So it's always really wise to involve your healthcare professional when you're going to start taking supplements. Supplements are meant for people who are at high risk of nutrient deficiency. For example, those athletes who are vegetarian, they are less likely to meet their calcium requirements, then we will need to supplement them. They are less likely to meet vitamin B12 requirements, so we are more likely to supplement them. So when it comes to supplementation, it's not always necessary. Just visit your healthcare professional, because sometimes you even buy supplements that have the same thing. For example, you can get a supplement that has zinc and calcium, then you get the other one that has zinc and vitamin C. So if you take both, when you take zinc in excessive amounts, it's not going to enhance your immune system, but it's going to suppress it. So it's really necessary. Nowadays, we have all these qualified professionals in our, I'm not sure about Botswana, but in South
Yeah.
Africa, we have dietitians in healthcare centers, in clinics. You no longer get them in hospitals or in the private sector. You can go to a clinic and find your dietitian. Go to a health care center and find a dietitian. It's really wise to use these services. Unlike, sometimes you can even overdose, especially on the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A,
Mm.
D, E, and K. It's really, you can it can lead to toxicity if you take a lot of those. So very necessary that we involve our healthcare professional.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned also issues where athletes are vegetarians, and we've had conversation, or we've had people saying athletes who are vegan or vegetarians usually don't perform at their optimal best as compared to the normal athletes.
Okay, what I know is vegetarian diets, it's not always everyone who's on vegetarian diets who's going to be able to meet their energy requirements, their protein requirements, and different vitamins and mineral requirements. There are a few people who know how to be vegan, who know how to do the vegetarian diets really well, because uh, when it comes to the diet that you and I are having, we have different sources of protein. You can eat your fish, you can eat your chicken, you can eat your mincemeat. But when it comes to vegetarian diet, we only get protein from things like your bean family. You get tired of them, and also their bioavailability, meaning after being digested, the availability of amino acids is not that great. So in that way, we can recommend supplementation. So I cannot say everyone who's following, okay, unless if there's a study that was done on that. I cannot
Yeah.
say that is true, but all I know is vegetarian diets have their, just like any other diet, they have their pros and cons. So most of the time, it's losing your muscles mainly because you're not taking enough protein, also having issues with your nerves because you're not getting vitamin B12, which is very crucial for the nervous system as well.
With that being said, are we then saying vegans need more supplements, maybe to complement some of the deficiencies that they might have?
Ye- Yes, and it's also possible that when you visit a dietitian, they can plan a diet for you that is balanced, that has all the recommended or your nutrition requirements, so that you don't buy a lot of supplements as well. Because I know it's a struggle for to meet those nutrition requirements when you're just on your own. But if you visit a dietitian or your nutritionist, they will be able to calculate and have a diet plan for you that meets your requirements.
Oh, okay. With us currently, what's happening in Botswana, I think sports has been suspended for like a year. There hasn't
Sure.
been any, yeah, there hasn't been any activity except for national team events that have been then there. But one would then ask, in terms of with the COVID era, athletes, how then should athletes adjust in terms of the requirements that we may need in terms of boosting our immune system?
Okay, like I told you how to build a healthy diet in the beginning. I think that is how they are supposed to do. And just because sport is suspended doesn't mean they have to stop exercising. There are exercises that we can do at home just to keep healthy, just to keep fit, so that when we go back to the field, it's not going to be a struggle as well. So if you make sure that your meals are balanced, you're having your high quality diet which consists of whole wheat, whole grain, carbohydrates, which is your brown dairy product, and also um meat that doesn't have too much fat or lean meats.
Mhm.
And then also we have more vitamins, I mean more fruits and vegetables. Include the bean family as well, 2 to 3 times in a week, and we hydrate. They should be fine.
There's a comment that someone sent me here. How effective or how good is someone who an athlete who likes to eat pap? Is it okay for them?
Okay, when you are eating pap, I know the
Mm.
internet always bashes pap. They'll tell you that pap is bad for you. So we grew up eating pap. Eating healthy doesn't mean we need to start eating the Western diet. Our starches must be couscous and all these
Yeah.
fancy things. So we grew up eating pap, we grew up eating bread, we grew up eating ginawa. So the issue with pap is during the milling process, the fiber is destroyed. So pap is very low in fiber. But I cannot say you need to stop eating pap. All I can say is when you are having pap, always make sure that there is some vegetable there, some morojo, spinach there, or cabbage there, so that the fiber content of the whole meal is up
Yeah.
there. But if you're going to be eating pap and meat every day, there is no fiber. You might start experiencing constipation as well. So
Oh.
I am a dietitian that eats pap. I'm sure 4 times a week I'm eating pap in my house. Rice, pasta is just here and there. We grew up eating pap, so nobody must tell us to stop eating pap.
Okay, I think maybe just to shed a few maybe observations that you've had. We often hear or see conversations where people are talk about how superfoods should actually be part of athletes' diet. And for someone who's not an athlete, but I follow sport, I would want to understand how are they different from the foods that we normally eat. Can you maybe explain what superfoods are?
We, as dietitians, we don't believe in what we call superfoods. Okay, I can say okay, for example, grapes. Or the berries, they are involved. They have a lot of vitamin C. They are involved in immune boosting, but it doesn't mean grapes are now superior than rice, because rice also has some of the things that grapes don't have. So we believe in having everything in moderation, because if I can say to you now, you need to eat grapes to prevent cancer, then you're going to be taking grapes alone. But it shouldn't be like that. When you are having a balanced diet, it might, because what you find in the starches is not what you find in the vegetables or in the fruits. So it's very important that you have different types of food per meal, different types of food groups. If as I've given you an example, that what you find in oats, you have your oats with low fat milk, and you add some fruits there, so that we have different types of nutrients. Because if I can say to you, you need to eat berries now to prevent cancers, so it's not berries alone that are going to prevent cancer. So really praising one food for disease prevention or for health, I think it's dangerous, because no single nutrient can work alone.
Oh, yeah. And then one would want to understand, maybe for athletes across, what would you say maybe dietary guidelines that they should follow?
I think I've just given you the guidelines in terms of
Yeah.
the right type of starches to eat, the right type of protein to have, the fat to have. So, in addition to that, I can say when you eat a solid meal, it must be 3 hours before exercising to prevent gastrointestinal discomfort as you are going to exercise. Make sure when you eat, it's 2 to 3 hours before you can go exercising, unless if you're going to have something light like an apple, maybe an hour as a snack, pre-exercise snack. And then post-exercise, after exercising, within an hour after exercising, your body goes through what we call an anabolic period. It's on a building mood. That is why you see people who are involved in bodybuilding often drink all these protein shakes, mainly because within an hour after exercising, your body goes through an anabolic period. If you can have something that is protein based, then you are likely to build muscles, and the more muscles you have, the healthier you are. For the people that I work with, I normally recommend about one serving of whey protein, because studies show that you only need around 20 grams of whey protein within an hour after exercising to build your muscles and also to recover from exercising. If you're going to be having more than 20 grams, it is just a waste, because it doesn't help.
Oh, okay. I think in closing, I'd want to get maybe your final words, and then also share with the athletes. We have some who are watching now. By now, some have resumed training. What would you say to them? Those that are currently training? Yeah.
Okay, I would say to them, they need to avoid the quick fixes, and they need to avoid woody yo-yo dieting. When it comes to nutrition, we need to start building habits that are going to last for a lifetime. If I say to you now, stop eating starch, you are going to maybe be able to stop for 2 months to 3 months. Eventually, you'll start craving starch. I mean starch, and eat it. But if we build habits that are sustainable, like for example, if you were eating white bread, now you go to white bread. You are changing your eating habits. You are changing the quality of your diet as well. And we don't expect it to be perfect at a go. If you were drinking just 1 liter of water and now it has improved to 1.5 liter to 2 liters, that is a sustainable change that someone is someone is having. So if you are having fatty meat, you're having a burger today, pizza today, tomorrow, and then the next day it's chips. Now you can only have those once a week. You are building sustainable changes. So nutrition, when it comes to nutrition, we don't need to work on quick fixes. You need to build habits that are sustainable, that are going to carry you through. For example, if you drink this weight loss shakes, you're going to lose weight. You feel that, oh no, lockdown, I've gained a lot of weight, and then you're trying to lose it, and you go for shakes.
Sorry about guys. I think we lost our guest for a bit there. Hopefully she'll reconnect and then we can continue the conversation. So for those that are watching at the moment, if you have any questions that you'd want our dietitian to answer, do send in through, type them in the comment section. So let's welcome her back. Yeah.
All
Welcome
right, so
back.
what happened there? I don't know what happened. So I was saying,
Yeah.
if you have a habit of losing weight through shakes, what's gonna happen on days when you don't have money to buy the shakes? And the other thing is, you cannot live on shakes forever, but we can live on brown starches forever. You can eat those things forever. You'll never get tired of them. You'll never get tired of a varied diet. The other thing is, we are not saying people should not eat junk food at all, but we are saying at least 80 to 90% of the time, your diet should be of the highest quality. And there will be that 10% where, let's say it's your birthday, or on days where you are just craving a burger, it's not a sin to have that, as long as it's a once in a while thing, as long as you visit it, you don't do it regularly, especially when you are going to be having like special events.
Yeah. All right. From what you had mentioned, is it then vital to say that clubs or maybe national team federations should have someone like you as part of their technical teams or as part of their teams? Because
Definitely,
yeah, because with athletes,
definitely.
yeah, hari itse dilo ka bontsi. Ke re le ha o ntsha hore, a balanced diet. I know a few things, but not in depth like you are mentioning at the moment.
Yes, so I think it's very important. Like I told you, for my master studies, I did over 200 participants, and it showed that they don't really have knowledge. Their dietary practices are bad. They eat a lot of junk food. So having dietitian or a nutritionist in a team will help in improving the dietary habits and the knowledge of athletes. Remember, for us to be able to make good nutrition habits or to change our dietary habits, we need to be well informed or well educated. So that's where dietitians and nutritionists come in to educate. For example, if you go to the doctor now and they tell you that you have diabetes and here is your medication, and they don't even explain to you what diabetes is, what are the risk factors. So sometimes you won't feel the need to take that medication. But if a doctor can sit you down and say, you have diabetes, these are the risk factors, these are the complications. If you don't take care of your diabetes, this is what is going to happen to you. This is how we want you to eat. And I'm giving you this dose of medication. A well educated person will be able to take care of themselves. But if I can just say to you, um, red meat is bad for you, or I can just say to you, dairy is bad for you, without further elaborating, like, you won't take me serious. But if we do a proper nutrition education as an intervention, that can help.
All right. I hope and think some of our sports people are watching. Some of our federations are watching, and they'll take the information that you just shared, the advice that you shared to heart, and try at least to implement some of the things that that you had mentioned. Memoloko, I would like to, in closing, say thank you for joining the show. I know we've been communicating for a while now, but I think I'm happy that we finally managed to do the interview, and also I've left your email address for those that would want to get in contact with you to ask whatever it is, seek your services. So yeah, in closing, any last words?
Okay, in closing, I can say take care of your body, and your body will take care of you. For you to be able to be a successful athlete, you need to make sure that your eating habits or your dietary habits are also good, because nutrition plays a vital role in not just in your health but in your sport performance, in your recovery from exercising as well.
All right. And for those that are watching, we are calling it a day. Thank you for those that have been watching, and we'll see you again on the next episode. Bemuloko, thank you for joining. All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. The Lunch Break Show, last episode of the week. Thank you guys for watching. And for those that have questions about what to eat and what not, I left the doctor or the dietitian's number or email. It's running across. So if you have any questions about it, do contact her, and we'll definitely be in touch. So it's a wrap from us. As we always do, let's sign out.